Shalom Akia, Yabashim Shalom Bashim Akwadash. This is Brother Nasha DC Camp with another short video to identify the sincere Akim doing the work of Yabashim Shah with all sincerity and diligence of man in the truth. Double honors and salutations to the elders and apostles of Broken Stone who rule well. So you can see the title says that how Mexico is winning the car manufacturing war. So then you ask yourself, what exactly is going on? But only to find out it's just the elites pulling the strings of labor, shifting capital here and there, you know, uh, basically moving the chess pieces in any direction they deem fit so they could maintain an edge above the people so they could keep on being profitable. So that's just the way Esau wants things to be, And then the other nations, especially the heathens, in addition to Esau, they're also taking that step too. Everybody's taking advantage of Jake, especially the tribe of Issachar. So I'll play this video, and then you just get a few ideas of what I'm talking about.
They used to make trucks at this factory in St. Thomas, big, sturdy rigs. But now only weeds fill the lot where 1,400 workers once parked. It seems a fitting symbol of a disturbing trend in Canada, manufacturers finding greener pastures elsewhere. Sterling trucks once rolled off the line here. All that ended in 2009 when Daimler, the parent company, canceled the Sterling brand.
Total shock. I'm there 5 years. These other guys, they're 15 years.
Dwight Hoffman was one of the workers that lost their job.
Not very fair. There's a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people that relied on it, their family relied on it, the whole city of St. Thomas relied on it. You know what? It went from, the guys at the variety store to the restaurants to everything. Everybody got affected.
And it wasn't just the Sterling plant that closed in St. Thomas. There's no mistaking the Ford Oval, even if the name is gone, just like the 1,100 workers who once made cars here. As the auto industry becomes increasingly globalized, Canada finds itself at a crossroads, with manufacturers looking south to more hospitable locales. Hoffman is actually one of the lucky ones. He retrained for a year, scraping by. He has a new job now, HVAC technician, heating and air conditioning, but at a much lower salary. Family adjustments were made, his wife doubling her home daycare business, and frank and worrisome discussions with his kids about their future.
We talk to our kids that are older and out in the work field or trying to educate yourself for something more than just going into a factory, because there's no guarantees. None.
Daimler told Hoffman and his co-workers that because the Sterling brand was ending, there was no more work, that the end of the line meant the end of the job. But Hoffman knew better. Everyone knew better.
And then when it all was said and done, you knew they're going to Mexico, and went from there.
And when they go to Mexico, they likely go here, Monterrey, just an hour and a half from Houston by air. It's Mexico's third largest metropolitan region with 4 million people. It's the capital of the state of Nuevo León, a region that has become a manufacturing magnet. It's where Dwight Hoffman might find his job. An hour west of Monterrey is a giant Daimler truck plant, opened the same year the plant in St. Thomas was closed. New trucks roll out of here, 3 at a time, made by a Mexican shop floor worker who may work for as little as 20% of what a Canadian made doing the same job. 1,400 of them, the same amount that worked in St. Thomas. And just down the road from that Freightliner plant, a new Chrysler facility. And then, even more telling, a massive new Kia plant just north of Monterrey, the biggest construction project in a state that is already booming. When Kia Motors was scouting the globe for the site of its newest production facility, it chose this place, just 29 kilometers from Monterrey. This billion-dollar facility is part of a growing trend among manufacturers. It used to be that Mexico was a destination for lower-cost production, second-rate production. Now it's the first-choice destination for top-of-the-line work.
So that was the point, Kim. These elites that have all these corporations, they'll continue to scout the whole earth for locations where they could make a good profit of their investments. And now, they're just focusing on Jake in Mexico, Issachar. That's how they're able to make a huge windfall, because the laws they put in place here in America does not encourage them to be more productive, so they go out other places to to set their roots. So that's why unemployment is messed up here in Babylon, because the elites planned it that way. Regulations after regulations. If you have no connections, you can't really get to a certain level that you want to be at. You just have to stay below water, or just pack up and and call it a day. Go back on the employee list. So these elites, man, they've cornered the market. They control the regulatory agencies. They determine how far corporation will get the share of the crumbs on the table. And Congress doesn't really give two shits, because they're all in the pockets of these corporations. They don't really have much to say. So I'll play the video some more and let you see exactly how the elites enjoy.
Diba Iluna
both
runs the
sides.
Magna powertrain plant in Ramos, set in the hills about 40 minutes west of Monterrey. He's witnessed the evolution of the Mexican worker firsthand.
At the beginning, we were just doing assembly. Now we do assembly and machining of components. We do some very complex components here that 7 years ago we thought we would never relocalize in Mexico.
Mexican auto production has doubled in the past 10 years, and that production has meant jobs. From 495,000 in 2003 to 668,000 in 2013. That is a 35% increase. For Canadian parts giant Magna, the allure of Mexico is obvious. It follows its customers, the big manufacturers. Magna has 30 assembly facilities in Mexico and employs 24,000 people and counting. Iluna says while labor costs are definitely part of the draw, there's something else going on.
So what we have seen is, on average, in productivity, we gain between 6 and 8% per year. So it's a huge improvement that we can do every year. And due to the attitude of the people, the flexibility of the people, they accept to try new things, and we can do these trials and then gain productivity.
Productivity that is measured in seconds, even if it's just a training drill for new workers. Higher productivity or efficiency means higher profit. So these cheaper workers are actually performing better.
I would say their capabilities are evolving. This piece is one of the more unique ones that we have in the museum because...
Make transformers for 100 years, like Bill Hammond's family has been doing, and you collect a few things along the way. The museum at Hammond Power in Guelph, Ontario, is a testament to the company's longevity.
So that's exactly, what the issue is about, man. The elites have a plan, to industrialize North America, So it's been going on for a long time, so it's not a big surprise. So that's why folks, especially these Edomites, are just, whacking themselves left and right. So I'll go back to the book of Genesis, chapter 49, and you start reading from verse 14 to 15. So it says, this is what, Jacob was telling his sons, all right, what was going to befall them in the last days. So Issachar is a strong ass, right? Genesis 49, verse 14, or Issachar, it means he is hired. Is a strong ass crouching down between two burdens. So that's Mexico, so-called Mexico, man, between North America in South America. And a strong ass is known as a beast of burden, or a mule or whatever. A beast that's built for labor. Constant labor, not for entertainment. All right. So the nation of Mexico has become a model for the elites to use as a source of cheap labor. And that's why, the elites don't want to leave, man. They control the Mexican, government to the core. So it's not a big surprise when you have Mexicans want to come up here, travel Issachar, want to come to America so they could make more money and then send it back home, because they want a better standard of living, and they also want to take advantage of that exchange rate from the US dollar to the Mexican peso. So verse 15 says, and he sat and he saw that rest was good, and the land that it was pleasant. So the land of Mexico is a fruitful land, it's a nice place to live. The weather is great, the food is good, productive, productive land is fertile. Where they got all kinds of treasures down there. Then verse 15, last line of verse 15 says, and he bowed his shoulder to bear and became a servant unto tribute. So Issachar has become a servant to the elites, man. The elites of Edom, the elites of Moab, that have these corporations down there. And then just working their ass up, man, to make a decent living. But at the end of the day, man, they don't understand that the Most High is the real deal, man. The Most High will be the one that will provide for them. But as for now, they're just in a dark state of mind, man. They're in that state of servitude, you know. All they know is just about the daily bread. They want to make sure they have enough food on the table, money to pay the bills and pay for their children's education. But at some point in time, man, they're going to feel sad that when the economy collapses, they're going to be so worried and devastated, all right? So it's going to be so unbearable for them when they see things crumbling apart, how they're going to cope. So, the best thing I can could do is just hope in the Lord Yahweh Shema Shah, because Scripture talks about man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth, of the prophet, the words of the Scriptures, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So this is Jeremiah chapter 2, verse, verse 14. It says, is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? So the whole nation of Israel, especially the nation of Issachar, has become a servant unto tribute. Working minimum wage jobs. Even if they're working 6-figure income in a productive company, they're still slaves, man. They could be terminated at any time because they're not in rulership in this society. They're all subject, to the will of the elite. They always have to go according to what the elites have determined. When it comes to the board meetings, their closed door sessions in Congress, whatever the elites dictate is gonna take place, they have to go according to it, So they have to toe the line. All right. So this is gonna be another precept here. This is Isaiah chapter 31, verse 1. It says, woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay on horses, and trust in chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong, but they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kwakwadash. So it's going to be so sad, man, when the economy collapses, man, especially the world economy. Folks are going to be so upset. They're going to see their investments go down the toilet. unemployment to be so widespread compared to what we have now or 10 years ago. So the scripture talks about it's going to be like a time that never been before, all right? So it's going to be so messed up. Folks that thought they had enough money in the bank, they're going to be so stressed and angry. They're going to lash out, all right? So Leviticus chapter 19, verse 13 says, Thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor, neither rob him. The wages of him that is hired shall not abide with thee all night until the morning. So, when Esau violates these laws of the scriptures, it comes with repercussions, man. We start having unrest in society, oppression here and there. People take advantage of people's weaknesses. And then you have chaos, man. People start getting kidnapped, murdered, all that craziness, thrown in jail. So it's one of those things the Most High talks about, man. For man to have peace, you gotta live according to the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. And when the word of the Lord is neglected, it becomes problematic. That's a problem with the whole world now. The elites are constantly ignoring the laws of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, and they are forcing the nations to do the same thing too. That's why there's so much instability upon the face of the earth. All right, the rulership of the Edomites has caused so much chaos. All right, so we get another precept here. This is going to be the book of Haggai. All right, chapter 1, verse 5 says, Now therefore thus said the Lord of hosts, all right, consider your ways. Ye have sown much and bring in little. You eat, but ye have not enough. You drink, but ye are not filled with drink. You clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes. So messed up, man, that a man got to work, his wife got to work, his children got to work, just to make sure they have the roof over their head. And the elites don't seem to bat an eye because they just care about amassing more riches, so it's gonna be so messed up, man. When if I play the video some more, you definitely see exactly what the issue is, man.
Its roots are deep in Canada, and it's an important employer, making large, complicated transformers for industry. Good, high-paying, skilled jobs in a business that's constantly innovating. Guadalupe, a suburb of Monterrey, where you will also find the Hammond name. They have 2 plants in Mexico and a 3rd joint venture opening soon. The Mexican factories make smaller transformers. It's more of an assembly line operation. But Bill Hammond says that doesn't mean Mexican workers are less capable than their Canadian counterparts, and the world is figuring that out.
There was a time when Mexico had a reputation of building shoddy product. And we're finding now that global manufacturers are more than willing to accept products coming out of Mexico because the quality levels are as good as they are out of the United States or Canada.
The country can thank workers like Crisanto San Martin for improving that reputation. He came to Hammond 8 years ago with no experience.
Yeah, they gave me good training. When I got here, I didn't know anything. I didn't even know what an electrical transformer was. I didn't know any of that, and they told me, don't worry, don't be afraid, you will contribute, you will do it.
So that's an example right there, man. See how Issachar is just working, but hey, it's making a fraction of what Esau's making up north here, what they pay the other Jakes up here too. So he's just holding the line for these corporations, man, to keep them profitable. And you could tell, man, for these jobs, man, you don't really need a college degree or advanced degree. All you need is just some vocational training, So that's the way things are, man, because in ancient world, you don't need no college degree, man. You just need to go be an understudy or an apprentice of someone that has a business or has a craft. And then from there, once you get to a certain level of experience, you're able to set up your own shop. Because that's the way a country can function. You can't have one corporation run the whole show. There has to be a shared responsibility. You know, so just imagine, if the word of Yahweh Shem Shai was held in high regard in the world will be more stable. But Esau doesn't want it that way, man. Esau wants to be the author of confusion at all times. So I'll play the video some more.
So how much does San Martin make compared to his Canadian company, brothers and sisters?
Basically, in Mexico, we pay 1/10 of what we do in our Canadian plants. And that's a significant savings. So there are significant advantages for manufacturers to build products in Mexico. And again, with the increasing pressure because of globalization in sourcing, then so many manufacturers have no choice but to really look at Mexico if they're going to reduce our manufacturing costs.
Yep. So Mexico is just down the block, man. Those items could be shipped by rail or by sea or by trucks, man, or by train or by airplanes, man. It doesn't take that long to get to Mexico from here, man. So just imagine how much these corporations are making, and then they make a huge profit when they sell it back to the Americans over here. So just let you know, man, how the elites take advantage of the tribes, especially in Mexico. The tribe of Issachar. And then they get rich and richer and rich, while the folks at the bottom are barely trying to make it, man. It's so messed up. Watch all the videos on YouTube concerning education, healthcare, employment. You see how everything is all skewed. How the economy is manipulated to the advantage of the elites. How legislations are crafted to benefit the people at the top. So just let you know, man, there's so much animosity between the rich and the poor. And then just imagine, man, a man can't live on handouts forever. So the Mosai is angry with Babylon. So it's one of those reasons, man. He has to destroy this place, man, for violating labor laws, unjust balances, theft of wages, murder, shedding of innocent blood, a corrupt justice system. So the Mosai is angry, so the Mosai is not going to hold his anger any longer, man. It's just going to let loose very soon. Alright, I'll play the video some more.
Well, the pay is not much. We don't complete our bills, so my wife has to work too. The jobs here are low wage, but in comparison to other factories, Hammond pays better.
Mexican officials bristle at the notion the country is little more than a pool of cheap workers.
We don't have a cheap labor.
Selena Villarreal is the Economic Development Officer for the state. We met at a large research and development park just outside Monterrey, a place she says is proof the country is creating skilled technical jobs to meet the demand of a manufacturing boom.
Mexico is not a cheap labor anymore. We're giving added value to the processes. So that's why Nuevo León is concentrating efforts in R&D activities to give more added value to the processes.
R&D support might be tough to...
That's the simple added value. Because what Esau's expecting up not exactly what he's expecting down there in Mexico, because he needs to make profit. The same research he's doing down there can be done up here, but he just needs to pay less. He wants to do more with less, and when they're having their shareholder meetings, their board meetings, they want to see what their projections are. They don't have to worry about unnecessary expenses. The so-called labor unions up here in the north and all that stuff. Because they don't really have strong labor laws in Mexico. They don't enforce it even though they pass it. folks are just at the mercy of the government down there, man. You know, it's rough. And then they got to deal with the cartels that have connection with these corporations. So just imagine, man, you know, when election time comes, you know, folks are intimidated to vote in a certain way, right? So it's messed up, man. So they want more control. That's the reason why they go to these poor nations. And then they let the puppet government open up, man. You know, this whole idea between NAFTA, man. They were looking for a source of cheap labor. You know, logistics that are favorable for their pockets.
Measure for companies like Kia. There's no doubt lower wages will make it cheaper to assemble their cars here, but there's something else Mexico has going for it after they're built. Kia will be able to export them to more places around the world for less too. Mexico has trade agreements with 44 countries, saving an automaker up to 10% per vehicle if built and shipped from here.
Now, we also export to Europe, to Asia, and there also those trade agreements helps us a lot.
Kia isn't just building an assembly plant here. This is a game changer, a massive investment that implies a very long commitment. And they're not alone. Recent headlines keep a running tally of manufacturers racing, not walking, to get to Mexico. $7 billion of investment announced last year alone, including those choosing to invest here instead of in Canada. And Bill Hammond says we should all be...
That's one thing the Lord Shimashai mentions, man. You know, you shouldn't envy your oppressor, man. You know, you shouldn't strive so hard to duplicate his business strategies that are built upon oppression. You know, so you just gotta be wary of whatever business venture you get into. You know, because your conscience is very valuable, man, to the Lord Yabashim Shah. You don't want to engage in activities that would hinder your faith in the Lord Yabashim Shah. All right, because the Most High prefers to deal with a man that has a contrite heart, you know, a broken spirit, you know, to understand that you don't need the materials of this world to make it, man. All you need is the word of Yabashim Shah and faith, you know.
Be worried.
Unfortunately, I can see where manufacturing as we know it in this country will not be around.
Often described as a race to the bottom on wages, Mexico may instead represent a triple threat. Workers willing to work not just harder, but yes, for less pay. A place open to global trade, and one that is increasingly educated and highly skilled, and working hard to get even more so.
And that's one thing, and how the .com bubble, know that high-tech, whatever, fever, just went overseas, man, to India. You know, went to China, you know, because they didn't want to be paying all these benefits. They didn't want to pay those livable wages here in America, so they decided to go to Southeast Asia, whatever, you know, to cut down. And then you have companies announcing the amount of profit they made. And then you talk about folks looking for jobs with all the extensive experience they've got. You know, if it's software engineering, embedded programming, electrical engineering, you know, folks that could take a cell phone and turn it inside out. But you know, they rather use that money for one person here and hire 10 people in Southeast Asia and get more, man. You know, that's one of the reasons why people around the world protest, man. They don't like labor conditions because it's basically you know, creates room for dog eat dog, man. People don't like to be taken advantage of. So it's creating so much tension, man. Folks are holding their employers captives. You know, you could go online and look at those videos, man. You know, bosses get assaulted and, you know, get ridiculed, you know, because they become tyrants, you know. So the Israel system is built on tyranny, and the Most High is going to destroy it from off the face of the earth.
The reality is Canada isn't competing on any of those fronts. And that's a grim reality for the people living through the consequences.
You know, when you go from a nice paycheck that paid your bills and allow you to go out for dinner on a Friday night to, well, like I said, basically living off of unemployment for a year, and then your savings went from here to here, and then anything you might have in your pensions or whatever, you start pulling out of that, and you find ways to try and make it through, and then now you're starting to.
Yep. So after a while, man, the money dries up. You know, the corporations have already left. They've left the neighborhood, whether it's Detroit, Michigan, whether it's California, whether it's Indiana, whether it's Maryland, Virginia, Kentucky, Arkansas, Texas. Hey, so what kind of people do, man? They gotta go find another hustle. So they start working at least two jobs, man. You know, the wife is working too, the husband working too, the child's working too, whether they're in high school or college. They're just trying to make sure that they make it to the next month. You know, they're living month to month, and that's one thing, man. The Most High hates for a man and his household to be oppressed. You know, so there's nothing positive about being oppressed here in Babylon. You know, the Most High is angry with the wicked every day, and is going to bring judgment upon the earth, man. Especially for these Edomite elites, you know, that control the financial institutions around the world. You know, so the Most High is preparing judgment for them, man. It's going to cause a devastating blow to rain down upon their head. All right. So I'm going to get this last precept here. This is the book of James. This is chapter 5. I'm already familiar with this. So it says in verse 1, go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl, for your miseries shall come upon you. So that's a prophecy that we're seeing coming to pass very soon, man. You know, these corporations are going under, they're shutting down, you know, just to be more profitable, and people are going on the unemployment lines to get more so-called handouts from the government, all right? And then verse 2 says, your riches are corrupted and your garments are moth-eaten. So their business strategy, their economic strategy is offensive. You know, it's disruptive to normal life on the face of the earth, because the whole environment of the earth is polluted. You know, the earth is being destroyed because of Esau's greed. All right. Then verse 3 says, your gold and silver is conquered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you. And ye shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have hid treasure together for the last days. All right. So whatever they've done, man, the Most High is going to hold it against them. You know. So the Most High is a just power. It's going to require, you know, it's going to require justice, man. In these last days, man, when these elite think they've gotten away with it, right? Verse 4 says, behold, the hire of the laborers who have ripped down your fields, which is of you, kept back by fraud, cried. So, you know, the Most High is only interested in the sufferings of his children, you know, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as the one spread throughout the four corners of the earth, you know, the nation of Israel. You know, the Most High sees the struggles, their oppression, the daily despair that they have to go through, you know, and the Most High is just being long suffering, you know. You know, it's taking it patiently until it's time for judgment, you know. And the cries of them which have ripped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth. All right, so the Most High is angry, you know, so he's gonna take action very soon. All right, so verse 5 says, ye have lived in pleasure on the earth and been wanton. Ye have nourished your hurts, as in the day of slaughter. So I say Kahala Ya Bashima Shai Bashima Kwakudash. The elites, and they know that they've offended the Lord Ya Bashima Shai. They know they don't have any place for repentance, and they're gonna be judged for it, So they're upset, they're angry, they're gonna come hard against the nation of Israel, real hard. They're gonna do their best to try to destroy our people. Alright, and the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai will have Yahweh Shai show up to deliver us from these days of destruction that are coming, the time of Jacob's trouble. Alright, so Akim, just understand, man, you can't be worrying yourself about your daily grind, your daily hustle. Let the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai put you through to the next day. Because you already see, man, Esau's economy is crumbling, man. All you gotta do is just pay attention to the economic numbers, do your research, talk to people, whether they're Edomites, whether they're Hamites, Elam, Ishmael, Jake, just, talk to them and, pay attention to the prices of goods you have in the store. Check out the news articles, what's going on in the stock market, what's happening geopolitically. You're gonna have an idea that the Mosai is burning down Esau's investments, man. These companies are going through so much scandals. Alright, so it's important, man. Don't let the cares of this world dominate your faith. Man. Your faith in Yahweh Shema Shai is much more precious than the riches of this world, which is cankered. You don't want to deliver yourself into a system that's totally against Yahweh Shema Shai. It's better for you to have a little and have peace of mind with the Lord than trying to make it in this society, and then you end up being on the losing side. So the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai is gonna be very angry, with that Israelite man that refuses to stick with the words of righteousness, the words of life, the words of balance. So the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai expects us, to stay faithful, to stay humble, to fight the good fights of faith, because it's an easy thing for the Most High to make a man wealthy. So the wealth that you're looking for now, man, it's not really worth it. You just gotta be patient and wait till the kingdom comes. Then you're gonna have rest. So Kahala Yabashima Shai, the bonus and salutation to the elders and apostles of Great Moonstone who rule well. I can be faithful, stay steadfast in the Lord Yabashima Shai, and remember that your labor is not in vain. Shalom.